Dr. Sella here, and living in the past will wreck you. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Now you're going to say, well, Dr. Sella isn't running the triple option living in the past. Well, no, because Air Force, here we go again, guys. Air Force just won 76% of their games the last 4 years, and they were 100% under center. So that's right now. That's right now. They won 76% of their games. By the way, since 2020, the year that will probably live in infamy because of the pandemic and COVID and whatever else you want to call it, Air Force has won 77% of their games in the last 2 years. So that's right now. How many FBS programs have won 77% of their games in the last 2 years and 76% of their games in the last 4 years? Look it up. So they are the present. Okay, so living in the past will wreck you. By the way, the triple option is the future. The Air Force triple option is the future because they're about ready to take Army and Navy to Pound Town because they're going to get way farther ahead while Army and Navy experiment like a 14-year-old with marijuana. Air Force is going to bludgeon them. So get ready for the annihilation. Okay, now I've gone through that spiel. Living in the past will wreck you. Common topics over the years that I've seen on the internet. How to run midline double. Guys, Air Force doesn't run midline double because they drew the conclusion 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that basically if you run midline and you don't pitch the ball, it's a wasted play. There's better stuff to run. So midline double ain't a thing anymore. Inside veer isn't a thing anymore because Air Force figured out mid-triple works better against odd fronts. And then when they happen to get an even front, it's been such a less percentage of the time they didn't want to start running inside veer because it was too much to teach. So now they just run mid-triple against everything with the intention of getting the ball pitched. So once again, it doesn't really matter how the defensive lines, they're only running it if they believe they're getting a blood stunt. If they don't get a blood stunt, they got better stuff to run. Like the trap and down and rocket and zone dive, of course, which sets up everything. Now, other topics, outside veer. Nobody's run outside veer in 40 years, okay? Nobody's consistently run outside veer in 40 years, but it's such a hot topic because the high school Harrys love it. Great, you got to block everybody and you need better players and it hits too slow. So you need better players to make it work. That's the reason why they don't run it. Other things, counter option. I think I talked about this in a video yesterday. Counter option is a concept. Yeah, Paul Johnson ran it 3-4 times a game, but it was either boom or bust. You run it at the high school level. I remember I used to teach it to my clients for 4 years at camps. Same way Paul did it, same rules. And my clients wouldn't run it. Too hard, too complicated. Everybody wants to run a counter because they want to look cool, but until they actually have to do it and realize how expensive it is. Okay, so other topics that because living in the past will wreck you. Belly. Nobody's running belly anymore. Because you got to block people. You got to block everybody. And you got to put your A back on the mic. Good luck with that. Even zone belly's tough to run. Guys, zone option's dying out. Yeah, you still see me post videos on zone option because we'll see what happens in 2023, but Air Force didn't run much of it in 2022. And with Army going commie and Navy having their freaking identity crisis, you're going to see much, if any, zone option or kick. Or I think that ship has sailed. So that's a topic that's pretty much done. Same thing with double option, where you block number one with the tackle and your two-way option from there. I think those you're not going to see. You're not going to see that. You know the trap option days. That's in the past. It's just these are things from the past. Sprint out passing is a thing of the past. It's too hard to protect. Passing, you're going to see play action off the toss, play action off the triple, boot off the toss, other boots. Air Force started running a boot off zone dive at the end of the year that was pretty cool. But overall, look, passing hasn't really changed much. It's switch, vert, tighten. That's what Air Force runs, the same stuff Paul ran. Look, here's the bottom line, coaches. The stuff Air Force is doing right now is pretty much almost everything that Paul Johnson did with some updates. And the difference is they prioritize things differently. Paul Johnson ran zone dive, but he didn't run it as a six-man wedge and a triple team that occurs on the guard. He didn't do that. The trap. Paul always had trapping, but Air Force just runs it a lot more. Paul Johnson had midline triple in. He really only ran it against a 3-tech backside action key, 4-2 situation to the 3-tech. Air Force runs it against everything. Paul ran rocket. I think he started in 2004. Air Force ran rocket 5 times a game on average, but in the games they won, they ran it 6 times a game. The games they won big, they ran it 7 times a game. You can find all those research studies on this YouTube channel and at tripleoption.com. Paul Johnson always had the down in, the down, belly G, whatever you want to call it. It's just Air Force runs it more. So Paul, the big 5 concepts that Air Force runs, Paul Johnson he installed all of them. The passing game, the base passing game Air Force runs is all Paul Johnson's. The difference with the running game is Air Force just prioritizes Paul's concepts differently, and there's been some minor tweaking because now it's more of a compressed formation offense, which definitely makes the offense easier to run, so it helps aid in the blocking. But here's the thing. If you're living with what the internet heroes and the high school Harrys and the pizza eaters, cake eaters, borderline communists, red card, guys are running, yeah, you're gonna run stuff like midline double, outside veer, counter option. You're gonna make stuff up. You're gonna pull stuff out of your can, and you're gonna get fired unless you got way better players. I got clients that are outmanned and they're winning all the time. So if you live in the past, you're going to wreck yourself. That's why. So listen, if you want to run the modern day triple option offense the right way the first time, the way Air Force is running it, because they've only won 76% of their games in the last 4 years. I don't know how many other programs have done that in the FBS. It ain't many. If that's the case, give me a call. My number's on the thumbnail of this video, so is my website, because the Triple Option Football Academy and Triple Option Football Academy camps will show you how. And I'll see you in the next video. We'll talk soon.